What is up, everybody? So I understand that the Sword and Shield era has been a hot topic for the past couple weeks. Seems like a lot of people are kind of speculating why the Sword and Shield era is so popular. I've been doing my research before making this video, and one video caught my eye. Rudy from Alpha Investments, he talked about how Sword and Shield could potentially be the greatest bull run ever, and I completely agree. I wanted to give you guys some of my insights and what I think why the Sword and Shield is so loved and why people cannot let this era go. But with that all being said, let's get into today's video. I said I was going to make this video on the last podcast. If you haven't gone and watched that, definitely go check that one out as well. Video is long overdue, so yeah, let's get into this video. So I have touched up on this subject here and there, but like I said, I wanted to make a more in-depth video about why I think the Sword and Shield era is the greatest bull run in Pokemon TCG history. The first one is, it's pretty obvious. It's the timing of everything. I like how a lot of Pokemon investors and collectors will say that we might see Pokemon return to those highs of, you know, when cards were at the peak FOMO during the Logan Paul 2020 boom, COVID boom. And I think this first topic is definitely the most important, which kicked everything off. The rest of them are kind of just supporting. It's gonna be the COVID-19 pandemic, man. Like, we're never going to see these crazy prices ever again unless we have another catastrophic world event, which is just slim to none. The pandemic, it just played just such a significant role in the hype and craziness of Pokemon and the Pokemon TCG, obviously. I remember when the whole pandemic was going on, I was watching those Logan Paul videos. I think a lot of us were. I've always been in Pokemon and paid attention to Pokemon as far as like on YouTube. I wasn't like super invested, but I was watching his little stream things, or at least the recaps. And I was going to work. I work for a UPS, so I was constantly working. I never got any time off. So those videos would help me pass the time. To see how many people at my work, outside of work, were talking about Pokemon because of that era and time of people just being so stuck at home watching those videos. Also, when you're home all the time, you're like, oh, maybe I have some Pokemon cards in the attic. Oh, maybe I have some of those Pokemon cards in storage or at my mom's house. So on and so forth. So what we saw was all these people thinking that they had gold mines rushing back into Pokemon because of so much time, so much boredom, so much time on their hands. And then they go grab their old Pokemon cards and they see the price and the value and all that stuff going up. They don't really know the meat and potatoes of why that is. You know, a lot of these cards that he was pulling were near mint, you know, they're fresh out the pack. And all those people, they just didn't know the difference. So the peak FOMO was coming from just people being bored, I firmly believe, and of course the pandemic. It's pretty nuts to see what people were, you know, killing each other for. Vivid Voltage and sets like that, people were fighting for, which is absolutely insanity, because now looking back, those are some of the weakest Sword and Shield sets to date. I love Vivid Voltage. It's a good set. It's got the Chunky Chew, as we all know and love, but wasn't a home run set to be, you know, stomping people out for fighting over ETBs at Target. Insanity. Absolutely insanity. So I kind of hope that we don't see that again in Pokemon. That was a ugly era of Pokemon, in my personal opinion. So we got to give a lot of credit to the celebrities, you know, the Logan Pauls, the Steve Aokis getting back into Pokemon. Even like underground artists like Young Lean was collecting Pokemon cards and showing Pokemon cards during that time. A lot of my favorite rappers that I listen to were talking about Pokemon cards, which is crazy. With Logan Paul being so big and those videos doing so well of him opening up those base set booster boxes, as well as that whole drama of him getting that fake booster box audited and then it having G.I. Joe cards, I believe, in there. It made for a great story. It just added more hype to the hobby, and here we go. You know, pandemic, and you add Logan Paul on top of it, or sorry, Logan Paul on top of it, and then we just have this downhill cluster of movement. And you gotta give credit when credit's due. And I believe that a lot of those people, they're still here in this hobby. I can speak for myself. It definitely got me back in more eyes towards the hobby. And a lot of money came into the hobby, which will be our third talking point of why I think that we are where we are today in the Sword and Shield era. And that's nostalgia plus investment. When I first got back into the Pokemon hobby, I started seeing Pokemon investment videos next to, you know, the opening videos on the little suggestion. Thought that was weird. I personally love watching stock videos and crypto videos of how people are investing, what they're investing into. So I thought it was pretty cool that people were making videos of that and collectibles. But I think that trend, it just kept on going, and I would say it's completely consumed the hobby. A lot of these PokeTubers are both collectors and investors, even though I think collecting is investing. That's a discussion for a whole nother time. But once people saw the scarcity and the value of these Pokemon cards, plus the eyes, the YouTube views, etc., people started to go all in. They were all in on treating our beloved Pikachu as a investment for long-term hold and short-term gains. The flippers, it got pretty ugly, to be honest. I think definitely that was the ugliest point of the hobby. I remember being in Discords and on Reddit, reading all these nasty comments people were having in the Pokemon investing Reddit space. It just wasn't good. There's still some of that animosity there, but I think that was more for the scalpers. As people started to see the demand for Pokemon cards, like I said, the value of them, people started to see investment opportunities and just basic supply and demand. There's a bunch of people, they're having all this like FOMO nostalgia of wanting to open up a, you know, booster box or what, ETB or whatever, and pulling that giant Pikachu nostalgia card and then potentially selling it or buying, you know, 20 ETBs and flipping them all for 10x the value because all these other people are just fighting for them, and that's what we had. We kind of gone back to the Sun and Moon era. I didn't get to open tons of Sun and Moon packs. I just opened them randomly. When I would go to a card store with a friend, I would be like, oh cool, Pokemon. I haven't opened Pokemon cards in a while. Funny story is I had like a basic holo pull, and I didn't understand, I forget what app I was using, but I didn't understand the rarity, and I thought I pulled like $100 card, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I ended up ordering a binder off of Amazon and then putting that holo in there like it was a crazy card. Very rookie beginner mistakes, but again, it was very new to the hobby, and back in my day, the holos were the big banger cards. Super funny looking back at all that. And just to go back on that whole investing and price and demand, we all need each other. We do need the investors, you know, to see Pokemon in a light where we can make money, and we need the collectors as well to want to collect all the stuff that these investor people are holding, you know, for like a slice of history even to open down the line. I think it's all important. I think we're just a giant ecosystem that need to all get along. I consider my channel a hybrid of the two. I strongly encourage you guys to kind of do the same thing. I mean, if you buy a few booster boxes to sit on for later, I don't see why that's not an investment, but I could be wrong. Let me know in the comment section down below, per usual. Also, I think with the Sword and Shield era, we got tons of great expansion sets and special releases like Shiny Fates. I think it's a great set. I had fun opening up Shiny Fates. I had some pretty cool cards with some pretty tough pull rates. I definitely recommend that you guys watch some of those Poke Vault videos of him opening up Shiny Fates. Tough set, absolutely tough set. Same thing with Shining Legends. Shining Legends was really tough as well. The Test Tube Mewtwo, insane. But and then we had Evolving Skies, the 1-of-1 set that comes every God knows. And with that, with sets like this that can just completely turn the market upside down, I can understand why these beautiful sets can completely shape a market. And to see what we have now, it's almost daily where I go on my TikTok and I'm scrolling and there's just some guy or gal talking about products that have evolving skies, and you see the engagement of people that still want to chase that moonbreon or any of the evolutions or even that beautiful dragon knight. Pretty insane of what one set can do to people. And I believe that evolving skies is going to be a set that people are going to want to chase for pretty much forever, until I think that set was absolutely broken. There is no reason why there needs to be so many good cards. I'm personally a fan of all those V cards, those V evolutions are absolutely beautiful. Even those are like 70 to 100 bucks, crazy. And when you have sets like this that are both collectible and investable, you're going to have a recipe for success or disaster, depending on who you ask. Success for the Pokemon Company because it's just a money printer, and it's kind of a money printer for collectors and investors as well. I also believe that the VMAX era was a huge success. I'm not a huge fan of the VMAX era. My favorite VMAX Pokemon is Duraludon, if you guys are dying to know. But it was a very cool gimmick. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite thing, but I know like I said, on Reddit and Discords, people absolutely love the VMAX forms. Pretty cool gimmick, and it definitely added some of the popularity to this era. We also have to remember that on top of all the information I previously told you guys about, all this does is create stronger communities. Like I said, I've been on Discord and Reddit pretty much since the pandemic. I can't remember if it was because of the pandemic, but I definitely learned about Discord and Reddit around that time, and I was locked in. It created crazy communities. A lot of people were talking constantly in those communities, and I definitely brought FOMO and just outside ideas into the hobby at all the right times. I pretty much have 5 points that I wrote down. They just all came together at the right time. People were at home, the Logan Paul boom, nostalgia was peaking, people had free money from the government, all that stuff combined, and community was just bam. All that combined, we have the Sword and Shield, the craziness of the Sword and Shield. So why I made this video, because like I said, Rudy from Alpha Investments was talking about how Sword and Shield could be the greatest bull run that we've ever seen in the Pokemon TCG, and I completely agree. All 5 points that I named on today's video, you add them up all together, it's what defines the Sword and Shield. To me, what doesn't define the Sword and Shield is actually the cards. When I think of the whole Sword and Shield era as, in time, I think of all the things like that I just named. Logan Paul, COVID, all that stuff. Of course, the art was amazing. Of course, the Moonbreon is the greatest modern card that we've ever seen, but there's also other reasons why. People were streaming, they were twitching, they were live videoing every single opportunity that they can get when it came to opening Pokemon cards and talking about Pokemon cards in these communities. I believe that communities just got so freaking strong in the Sword and Shield era. There was more pack ripping, there was more box breaks, all that stuff. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys were a part of any of that stuff. I wasn't. I liked watching more of the long form videos. I wasn't part of the lives, but I know a lot of people were. And I think that those were so important to growing the hobby, especially around that time. I believe that there's a lot of people that it brought in during the Sword and Shield era, and we're still here. If it wasn't for the Sword and Shield era, I don't think I would have this YouTube account. I wouldn't have the community that I have with you guys, get to talk to you guys, and so on and so forth. So let me turn it to you guys. Am I crazy? Are these valid points? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know anything in the comment section down below. Is Sword and Shield the greatest era of all time? Let me know. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.